Now we have a treat. We have someone that you haven't heard before. That none of us have heard before, that nobody you know has heard before. And you know, I see many of the same faces here that I've seen at other events, the previous Values of Breakfast, at political events all around Lake County and across Illinois. And you know, it's just a simple fact that we hear a lot of the same voices and see a lot of the same faces. The speaker we're going to hear next, I first met her at the Palatine Tea Party on the 4th of July in 2009. She and her sisters, the Daughters of the Immaculata, began to get some press coverage as three nuns in blue in a crowd of patriotic red, white, and blue, waving both American flags and Gadsden flags. Will tend to get. So they started appearing, pictures of them started appearing in the blogs and even in the newspapers. And they actually began to become a little bit controversial as the Tea Party nuns. A brief conversation I had with Mother Patrick at Marytown for the Institute on Religious Life when I was privileged to visit that event convinced me that she and this order have something to say, and I wanted to create a venue for that. So please welcome Mother Patrick of the Daughters of the Immaculata.
Once upon a time, I had an eccentric aunt. When the doorbell rang, she bolted up and ran into the bedroom like the devil was hot on her heels. Did, true. As little kids, we figured she knew best, so we followed in hot pursuit. I'm not sure who she was expecting. Back then, who knocked on the door but the full-of-breast man or the Avon lady? Of course, today it might be the green police wanting to check your light bulbs. Nevertheless, I learned to suspect that people were dangerous, and the more hidden you were, the better. I grew up a shy Irish Catholic little girl from the Bronx. I cut my teeth on such goodies as children should be seen and not heard. I was happy to be the silent, invisible child, and any hint of public speaking or class participation sent me into tremors of fear and anxiety. So what, other than Paul Mitchell, would drive me to be here today, scared as I am? Two reasons, really. The first is my devotion to the patron saint of my religious community. His name is Maximilian Kolbe. He was a Polish Franciscan priest who lived during the time of Hitler and the Nazis. Kolbe was fearless in speaking out against and publishing criticisms against the evils of socialism. He drew and published cartoons depicting Hitler as such things as a glutton devouring one plate or country after another, as a street thug, that sounds familiar, and yet again as a fierce dog. Maximilian's courage and creativity won him an extended stay in Auschwitz. St. Max once said, "Is it wise that while our enemies seek to gain the mastery over us, we remain docile, trusting in prayer alone and neglecting deeds?" This is the man whose footsteps I follow. I have to be here today. And yes, I'm afraid to be up here. But the second reason I agreed to share with you today is that I'm even more afraid of something else. I don't know what you were doing 2.5 years ago, but I can tell you that I was living in the illusion that America would always be a free country, that our future was safe, even despite the horrific events of 9/11. I knew my country would protect me from those terrorists. The enemy was at the gate, but we would hold strong. I felt my constitutional rights were assured, and I was filled with complacency. Oh yes, I voted faithfully, at least in the important elections. Beyond that, I didn't listen to much news, had never considered contacting a member of Congress, had never donated to a public campaign, and had never attended a political rally. I had no clue what was about to hit this country that I loved. I had no clue that the enemy was already inside the gates. 2.5 years ago, I was concerned about finding just the right shade of blue and the best fabric for this religious garb I wear. Today, I'm concerned that one day in the not so far future, I won't be allowed to wear it in public at all. 2.5 years ago, my big decision on health care was what plan to choose. What was best, what was least expensive. Today, I wonder if I'll be fined or jailed for refusing to sign up for a program that pays for murdering babies in their mother's wombs. Or a plan that rations health care. 2.5 years ago, I served the internet, choosing the sites which would give me the best information. I emailed my family and friends without a care. Today, I use a privacy browser and email program, because otherwise I know my name will show up on a government hit list. 2.5 years ago, George Orwell's 1984 was a book I vaguely recalled from high school. Fantasy, I thought. It couldn't happen here. Today, it's a frightening foreshadowing of our future in this country. Our government does not want to hear our church bells, our guns, or our voices. Our rights, religious and otherwise, are being eroded day by day. Valedictorians can no longer credit God or Jesus Christ for their talents and success. Their speech will be censored or they will be suspended. It's no longer politically correct to fly or wear an American flag in public, and many employees have found themselves having to choose between their patriotism and their jobs. Listen to a few recent absurdities which would be funny if they didn't make me want to cry. Patients in a southern nursing home were recently forbidden to say grace before or after meals, silently or privately even, because the meals are subsidized by the federal government, and saying grace offends the separation of church and state. This was later reversed due to public outcry. Fast food restaurants in California cannot give toys away with food orders because the toys entice little people to eat unhealthy things. The food police. A 5th grade girl in the Midwest was suspended for 5 days because she had a piece of forbidden candy in the school cafeteria. A public school art teacher, again in the Midwest, confiscated a young boy's drawing of an American flag with the words "God Bless America" written on it. She declared that it was unacceptable. 4 boys in Texas were sent home from school because they had American flags portrayed on their t-shirts. They were ordered to turn the shirts inside out or be sent home. They chose to go home. At the Honley Church of England School, Great Britain, and believe me, it's coming here, a school production of the Three Little Pigs has gone from being populated by 3 little pigs to 3 little puppies, because the school officials are afraid that the piggies might just offend the Muslim population. Are you afraid yet? You should be. So where does